It's a pretty crunchy shirt.
Let's go back to these. You guys do want this. Yeah, holding percent. All right, you ready to go for one? Cool. Let's go.
Hey everyone, it's Anne-Marie. I used to do a thing called Agony Ann, where people would send in their problems or whatever.
And inspire them, and so kind of just switch directions. And so with this
Oh, I
project,
sing Tanya sing a little bit. Sorry.
Are you gonna sing now?
In the past, we've always had visual effects shots done at vendors all around the country. Now we can just pass them on to this guy who's working on a station 50 feet from us.
By bringing so much of the post here, it just brings speed and efficiency.
Talking about L'Oreal Paris, the fact that you're part of a team of great women, Helen Mirren, Jane Fonda, the list just goes on and on. When you became part of it, what was that moment for you?
I was so excited. I was so excited when I was approached by L'Oreal, not just because it's fun and it seemed like a brand I could really get behind, but they really seemed like a brand that stood for the same principles and ideas that I myself align my energy and my efforts to. You know, they have had the they've had the tagline "Because you're worth it" since I was born, before I was born. And I thought that it was very special. I feel very honored and proud to have aligned myself with a brand that is so similar to my principles. They stand up for empowering women. It's about women. It's about finding your own worth in whatever way that happens. I love that they really were a brand that stood for something that I can get behind.
And that's so great about you. You actually use your voice to make a difference. You actually speak up for other women who can't have a voice. And that's part of what L'Oreal Paris is doing as well. And it's an interesting time in the industry with everything that's happening. How important is this moment right now where there's a shift in attitude for women?
It is so exciting and thrilling and encouraging and inspiring to see a real groundswell of change of opinion, change of mind. That is what that will serve as the basis, as the impetus to have and see and enjoy the fruits of long-term change. Long-term change does not come from a fad. A movement can be a fad if it's not founded in a deeply ingrained, ubiquitous need. And in order for it to be properly executed, carried, and for us to reap the benefits of it, having effect, for it to affect us in a long-term sense, we have to continue to carry the message. We have to continue to go see films made by women. We have to continue to push our daughters, our sisters, ourselves to get behind the camera, to pick up our pens, to pick up our cameras, to start telling our stories and participating in the dialogue, which is the expression of the female experience and all of its varying degrees. The spectrum is vast, and it has been largely ignored and chronically underserved. We are chronically underrepresented in this industry. We make up over 51% of the movie ticket population, over half the population, over half the ticket purchasing population. Yet 30% of speaking roles or named roles were done by women, and that is not even taking into consideration the content of what they were saying. And when you do it, the numbers get even more depressing. Not to mention the pay gap, the deep disparity between wages between men and women doing the same jobs, and the lifespan that we have. These are institutions that have been needed to be challenged, overturned. Now is the time where we're starting to realize the damage done by these antiquated institutions and outdated norms of protecting the status quo that hurts women and underserves women and underrepresents us in a major way. We can't sit on our laurels and ride the wave of, which I'm very happy to see post all of the social movements that we have seen recently. I've noticed in my own life, the effects of such a dramatic and inspiring climate change in the cultural conversation, the collective conversation that we're having regarding this outdated system that needs to really be overturned. And I think it's thrilling to see what these conversations have become and to see some of the stories and the policies change so quickly in the wake of these movements. And when I compare it to what I experienced 2 years ago, it is thrilling and inspiring. Now it's our job, I think, as women, to make sure it lasts.
She's running for president next year, guys. I feel your energy, and this. I just got chills listening to what you're saying, and the fact that we're working together to do this and making this change happen. Are you finally seeing that we're starting to get that respect for women in the industry? Do you see that change slowly happening?
I do. I used to get 10 to 15 scripts across my desk every week, and I would laugh and or cry, depending on the day, at if I could find a script out of that 10, 15, maybe I found one too, that had female characters in them. Of course, there are, as many actresses starting out in this industry or fighting for these roles as there are men. We're paid less, but we're represented in, as I said, 30% of the roles. And if you get one or two characters in a script, obviously it makes the market for women, especially young women who are starting out. It was the same for crew, behind the camera, writers, directors. 1% of the directors of the top 100 grossing films, 2% of the writers. 80% of the top grossing films are produced, directed, or written by men. And it's unsurprising that when 15 scripts cross my desk a week, I'm reading 1 or 2 female characters that are just characters, meaning they're flawed or interesting, smart, complex. They've got some character to them. And now, this week, I had this conversation a few minutes ago with my agent, and I said, I've read in this week, I've read out of all the scripts that crossed my desk, I've read 5 out of 15 that had female characters that really represented one of the varying aspects on the spectrum, the wide spectrum of what it is, what the female experience is. And I'm very inspired and proud to see that change. Now it's our job to go and make them, to keep writing them, to fight for them to be seen, to buy the tickets, to support us, to support each other. Even outside of this industry, we need to change the way we talk about women on a social level, on a political level. We need to not wait for 15, 20 women to come forward before we stop asking what's your motive. We really need to realize that if justice and equality is denied to us, one of us, it's denied to everyone. And I'm really inspired. I think this is changing. I'm seeing it right now just by the number of scripts I can tell you featured strong women, and that is no accident. I want to see those movies do well as well in the box office so that the change lasts and it keeps going. So our daughters have a totally different relationship to seeing their reflection as by way of the entertainment industry.
And you're part of that movement, and it's so great that you are part of it, and you're making that change happen. And one other thing is your character that you created, Mira.
Oh, thank you.
Who controls water.
Yeah.
I mean, that role itself, as superheroes in general, I have a way of just giving girls and boys an opportunity to feel confident. There's something that really resonates with them. Yes. Taking on this character, do you realize the impact you're going to have on girls?
Yeah, I took this role because, on the phone before I ever read the script, and it's very secretive, these things, you
can't say much,
and you can't, and you also don't know a lot when you're first going into it. And I said, I am not interested. I'm not interested. And then Zack Snyder explained to me a little bit of who this character was, and he said, she's a warrior queen. This is no damsel. This is no, typical. You're the female counterpart to him. He said, just read a comic. You're a warrior queen. I went, sword and a crown. Okay,
that's impressive.
Got my number. But then I looked at the comic book, and in the first scene, she they both her and Aquaman. Both Mira and Aquaman save a town, and the townsfolk are running around saying, who is this? Who are you? Are you Aqua Woman? And she's like, whoa. I'm not Aqua Woman. I have my own name. It's Mira. Yeah. And I was like, yes, I'll take it. And so it's great to see that she has the whole water power, hydrokinesis, but she has that whole thing going for her. But she's also a badass, proactive, strong, don't mess with me character who does her own saving. And I love that about her.